Welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Powercast. I'm your host, N64 Josh, on today's Nintendo News Minute. And we're just going to jump right into this thing. Of course, we are live 9 a.m. Pacific for the News Minute, and NPC Live will be following that. So, first up, we got Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Estimated file size is revealed on the Switch eShop. It's not very big. The file size is relatively small. So the article reads from Nintendo Live, Nintendo is once again proving itself to be the master of optimization on the Switch. If the estimated file size for Super Mario Bros. Wonder is anything to go by. As reported by the folks over at Nintendo Everything, the official eShop is currently listing the upcoming platformer at a rather reasonable 4.3 gigs. And the US eShop lists the game at 4.5, so should be relatively close to that. As comparison, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe came in at a 2.5 gigs at launch, and so you could probably expect Wonder to be much more feature-packed title to complement the much improved visuals. Curiously, Wonder is quite a bit larger than Super Mario Bros. 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, which required only 2.9 gigs to download. Now, they give some great comparisons here of other games and their size. Super Mario RPG, which is on its way, is 8 gigs. Detective Pikachu Returns, 10 gigs. Star Ocean, the second story, R, is 13.7 gigs. WarioWare Move It, 1.5. And Manic Mechanics, 1.4. So you're not going to need too much space on your Switch to be able to play Super Mario Brothers Wonder, which I can't. Is it October yet? Are you guys ready? I do want to say what's up to everybody that's here. I see Joe and Becca and Brooke over on TikTok. Welcome on in, guys. Thank you for being here with me live. I'm really excited for Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I cannot wait. Cannot wait to jump into this one. Well, we're gonna hit a couple of quick news things, and then we're gonna camp out for a little while on a bunch of the hands-on impressions for Pikmin. So there's all kinds of stuff happening in the courts right now with the FTC, Microsoft, and Sony. Google's in the mix. I feel like Nintendo's just kind of sitting back idly by, but they're getting pulled into the conversation nonetheless. So Microsoft says that the goal with Call of Duty on Switch would be to match or surpass quality of other Switch games. So this is via GoNintendo.com. And the article reads, will Call of Duty ever come to Switch? And that's a question we've been wondering for years, but we've been itching ever closer to the yes side of things ever since Microsoft has been eyeing up Activision Blizzard. And so this has been a question I've had, like, when are we going to see this? We've seen Call of Duties on we've seen Call of Duties on the DS, the Wii, the Wii U, but nothing on the Switch. And what would we see on the Switch? Well, Call of Duty Mobile is probably one of the most solid mobile games out there and makes a ton of money, right? Whereas you've seen games like Apex make their way to the Switch, but they look like dumbed down versions of Apex. Fortnite is the same way. If Call of Duty is really going to win on Switch, in my opinion, it needs to be a game built from the ground up for the system. Back to the article, it says, as you no doubt know, Microsoft is trying to acquire Activision Blizzard, and they've met some opposition from the FTC. The two are in the middle of a legal battle right now, and I don't know if you guys have been following this at all, but I'm in a handful of Xbox groups, and the stuff that is taking place in the courtroom it's kind of ridiculous, honestly. So it says the two are in the middle of a legal battle right now, which means Microsoft is being asked all sorts of questions about their plans should the deal go through. Those plans, as you know, would include bringing Call of Duty to Switch and subsequent Nintendo platforms. If this acquisition does go through, that means there's a real chance Call of Duty could see at least one installment on Switch. Microsoft has previously said that the Call of Duty on Switch would have feature parity with other platforms and arrive on the same date. That said, what can we really expect from a Switch version? Spencer has shed a bit of light on that. One of the many questions Spencer has answered in the courtroom battle was about Call of Duty on Switch. According to this, it's so funny. This article is literally written to rank for the keywords Call of Duty on Switch. That's why you keep seeing the same sentence over and over again. Like, it's a little bit crazy, honestly. According to Spencer, the goal for Call of Duty on the platform would be to provide something equal to, if not better than, quality of other Switch games. Specifically, Spencer says that the devs would aim to make a game that played relatively great when stacked up against other Switch releases. While the goal is to create a game that plays great on Switch, it's obviously not going to look the same as other platforms. When directly asked if Call of Duty on Switch would look the same when compared to the Xbox Series X version, Spencer says it'll play great, but it won't look the same. And that's, I mean, the idea here for me when it comes to a Call of Duty on the Switch is don't try to squeeze, we've seen Doom run on the Switch. It ran okay, but albeit it still looked kind of muddy. Create a game from the ground up. Maybe we don't get Warzone. That's fine. But if we get, a campaign and multiplayer, that would be great. It would be great just to have that level of first-person shooter on the Switch. And again, the mobile game is fantastic. And I believe they've just kind of worked on it, like maybe updated with a new version or something along those lines. Like, and not only that, it also ties to the main game now. So it's like a single battle pass for everything, I believe. So whether you're playing mobile or playing on your console, you're leveling up the same stuff. This would be a great, like, Call of Duty Mobile would be a fantastic addition to the Switch. Playing against other mobile players, the graphics would not tax the system all that much because that is optimized for a variety of phones. Honestly, doesn't look that great on like my iPhone, but it would still run well on other systems. So I get it. I'm here for it, and I'm just ready for it. The Switch is basically just lacking in that department, and it would be great to see that. And it's not Call of Duty is not the only game that I kind of scratch my head because of Call of Duty's history. When it was coming out on 360, different games were coming out on the original Xbox, right? Like they were still pushing this on all platforms, but the Switch has been kind of left behind. And I understand it's underpowered, but the other series that's not even tied to the Activision Blizzard deal or Xbox at all is Madden. When are we going to see, we've got soccer and baseball, and NBA 2K is doing their basketball, but when is football going to finally make its way to the Switch? I don't know. We may never know. We're going to continue on a little bit here with the with more from the court case here. The FTC doesn't seem to think the Switch is a serious PlayStation and Xbox competitor, and Microsoft's Phil Spencer says it's incorrect. So again, we know Microsoft is currently locked down. This is a Nintendo Life article. Is currently locked down in a courtroom battle with the Federal Trade Commission over its proposed $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And although the focus is mostly on Xbox, on day 2 of the proceedings, the Nintendo Switch has already been dragged into the fight. So this is according to The Verge. The FTC has been attempting to argue the Switch is very different to the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5, suggesting it's not really part of the same market by comparing its technical capabilities with lines about its frame rate and how it compares in terms of GPU teraflops. As highlighted by the source, Microsoft's head of gaming, Xbox chief Phil Spencer, didn't seem to agree, noting how it's incorrect for the FTC to say Nintendo isn't a competitor when it still occupies the same industry and even hosts the same and similar third-party content. Essentially, the FTC is claiming Nintendo won't be impacted by the acquisition like PlayStation. This is so interesting. It's interesting to me, like what is the purpose of going this direction with their argument? I have the Backbone device, which allows me to turn my phone into essentially an Xbox cloud gaming machine, and what I choose to play is usually the Switch, right? And so that right there, just with that simple argument, to me makes, if my gaming time is going to the Switch and not the Xbox, it's still gaming time. Therefore, it makes the Switch it puts the Switch in the competition. Now, we've said at length, we've talked about it on this show. You hear other people say that the Switch is like the companion console to the other consoles, and I get that. Nintendo's kind of, with the hybrid system and everything. And when I play Fortnite, am I going to play on my Switch or am I going to play on my Xbox? Well, I'm going to play on my Xbox because it just looks and runs way better. But it's still very much just taking up my gaming time. I don't know what you guys in chat think, but it seems to me that Xbox is still a or Nintendo is still a competitor with Xbox and PlayStation. You've got consoles that are similar in price, so it's such a strange. It's almost like the FTC is leaning into this, saying that it's only going to really negatively affect Sony, and that's why we don't want to see it happen. And there's been some weird stuff going on with this thing anyway. Like, we might dig a little more into it, but it's kind of crazy. So back to the article here, it says Microsoft has already penned 10-year deals with a number of parties, including Nintendo, to host Call of Duty on their respective platforms if the acquisition is passed. Sony chose not to sign. This would arguably reinforce the fact Nintendo and the Switch is still very much in the same market as Sony and Xbox, even if it pivots. Factoring in sales, the Switch has absolutely dominated video game hardware space since its arrival in 2017, with more than 125 million units sold as of March 2023. And software sales surpassing the 1 billion mark in May of this year. So the hybrid system supporting both console and handheld play certainly appears to be a competitor in the space, like we were just saying, even if Nintendo chooses not to directly compete with the high-end specs and games on Microsoft and Sony's system. Back in April of this year, UK CMA suggests the Switch was not technically capable of running Call of Duty games, which is definitely amusing to hear when considering just how many impossible ports have been released during the Switch's lifetime. Many of Nintendo's past systems, including the Wii U, have had Call of Duty games as well, just like we said earlier. So it's just interesting to see that there and again, it has to do with the whatever their legal strategy is here to try to stop this deal from going through, or potentially stop it from going through. Saying that Nintendo isn't even really viewed as a competitor is wild. It's crazy to me. I don't know. I think it's crazy. But let's jump into the main story of the day, which is Pikmin 4 previews. Chat, let me know if you guys are excited for Pikmin 4. We're over at mynintendonews.com, and it says a number of Pikmin 4 previews have gone live ahead of the game's release on Friday, July 21st. We have rounded up a selection of previews, and general impressions appear to be glowing, which bodes well for the full release. The previews seem to heap praise on the ultra cute and versatile dog, Ochi, along with the larger open levels, which are naturally ripe for exploration. It appears that media outfits played a 1-hour demo, presumably the one which will go live on the Nintendo eShop on Wednesday. So with no further ado, here are some impressions. So guys, get ready to jump into Pikmin 4. But GameSpot says Pikmin 4 is bursting with other humanoid characters who can serve to explain its various systems and lend a hand. Instead of an isolated mission surrounded by silent plant creatures, you're part of a crew. And given that Pikmin can be fairly dense with systems to manage, that's a welcome change. They are still largely tutorial givers and systems hubs, but they have some character. The contrast between the lighthearted, relaxing campaign puzzles and the frantic Dandori battles can be jarring, but they don't feel disconnected from one another. That's good to hear. That's really good to hear. Let's see here. And given the Pikmin can be fairly dense with systems to manage, it's a welcome change. Let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Dandori battles. There we go. The versus mode is much more fast-paced, likely playing the regular game in fast forward and juggling more tasks simultaneously. In that way, the inviting, relaxed pace of the campaign feels especially vital. Pikmin 4 is a welcoming experience for newcomers on the whole, while the Dandori battles show the upper skill ceiling you can achieve if you keep working to perfect your Pikmin skills. Guys, are we going to get a competitive Pikmin? Anybody going pro in Pikmin? Let me know. Let me know if anybody's going to be going pro in Pikmin. Let's see. Eurogamer says, crucially, Pikmin 4 removes the series' usual overall time limit So there's now no need to worry about depleting life support or replenishing food reserves. The triumphant return of Pikmin 2's dungeon-like caverns act to focus gameplay and also allows for a longer sections of adventure without the surface's day-night clock to worry about. And there's now the ability to rewind time if a day is going terribly and you'd prefer to start over. Pikmin 4 currently feels like a leap forward for the series. This is really great to hear. And one that's also not afraid to look back at the best of the franchise from the past. The return of Pikmin 2's caverns is an extremely welcome move, and they remain a challenging highlight despite the many other new features designed to ease players in. I'm still too early to have encountered Pikmin 4's other new variety, Glow Pikmin, which look like they will come as part of the game's new night expeditions. There's also a whole other challenge mode lying on the game's menu, and I've not been able to try yet either. So, seems like there's going to be quite a bit of content there. Hoffman says, "Wouldn't anything be a move forward for Pikmin?" Just throwing a little shade Pikmin's way. There's a shout out to Hoffman there for that one. Inverse says, "In the short time I spent exploring the world of Pikmin 4, I was able to see Ochi's potential expand. Like any good dog, he can learn new tricks, and you get to determine what he focuses on. Having learned quickly that using Ochi's charge to knock out enemies quickly was my preferred style of play, I decided to choose the upgrade that decreased the ability's recharge time, but there are also other options to make him faster or his attack ability stronger. What seems so great about Ochi's inclusion in Pikmin 4 is that despite not actually being a Pikmin, his mechanical purpose is built on the same foundations as the creatures. By learning his strengths and weaknesses, which are semi-customizable through upgrades, Ochi becomes another tool for players to explore the gorgeously designed world of Pikmin 4. So it's like it seems like Ochi might be more of a breath of fresh air. Joe says never played Pikmin, but they look so funny and I love them. Yeah, and there's some shorts on YouTube you can watch that are kind of like animated, and they are fantastic. They are very, very well done. And, the amount of time that I have spent with Pikmin, I'm looking forward to this. And honestly, hearing about Ochi and being able to kind of upgrade the dog and use him, I feel like it might speed up the overall pace of the game, which I think is a good thing, because to me, the amount of time I spent with the game made me I didn't necessarily love the battling mechanics, right? Like, and so to be able to kind of knock enemies out a little bit more and focus, or a little bit faster, but then be able to focus more on the exploration, that's really the joy of this game for me, is getting into the exploration side of things and being able to uncover new areas, new parts of the map, and when they showed that Game Boy and how you want to take that back to your ship, like, I love that kind of stuff. I love seeing Nintendo lean into their history, include it into their games, and with this game, it looks like we're going more than just to the backyard, right? We're gonna be in the house, and we're also gonna be exploring at night, and caverns are back, and so it seems like this could be a real more of a complete package when it comes to the Pikmin series. And honestly, I feel more excited about this game reading these impressions, and I'm looking forward to the demo on Wednesday, which of course we'll go hands-on and talk about it right here on the show. So I appreciate you guys all so very much. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here live. And NPC Live is coming up next, so we'll see you very soon. Bye, everybody.